Straw Hut Media.
Sorry.
Just clear your throat, Emile. This is the time to do it. Wait till the mic is on and you hit record, and now
a lot of phlegm
clear
this time of year.
Your throat.
Phlegm. Yeah, also, we talk a lot when we are sitting on the sofa on the weekends. Sometimes high, sometimes not. And randomly, AJ and I will listen to certain words. I mean, look how phlegm is spelled.
I mean, am I right?
How would somebody know how to spell phlegm?
Spell it.
P-H-L-E-G-M.
There you
phlegm.
go.
I was a great. I should have been in the spelling bee competition. But speaking of spelling, this episode is all about P-R-I-D-E. Pride.
That's right. Yes.
Confess your mess. This is Confess Your Mess. I'm Emile, Ennis Jr.
I'm the fiance. You can say my name.
AJ Gibson.
That's right.
And this this podcast is all about secrets. So we break down listener secrets. We confess our own secrets. And then we have a guest every single week that reveals their own secrets and gets in the mess with us. Now, the guest for this week is somebody who we've come to love. It is someone who is very much an advocate for the community.
Yes.
They are the founder of Rainbow Media Company, which owns and operates the LGBTQ news brands, Gay Tea, as well as communities across social media. So we have at LGBTQ, at Pride on Instagram.
Doing way better work than we're doing. I mean,
Way
for the
better.
community, we're just trash, but this guest is like literally doing the work.
But also, they have the Pride podcast, which is part of the Straw Hut Media family.
So we're like cousins.
Yeah.
Like once removed, twice removed. I don't know yet. We'll have
AJ,
to
don't
find
go
out.
into the cousins again. Somebody actually DM'd me today talking about your whole thing with cousins and explaining second and third cousins and all that. Anyway, everyone, welcome to the podcast, Levi Chambers.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well,
We're
thank you
excited.
for being here. We are thrilled. And when we found out that you would even consider doing our podcast, we're like, wait, this is a big deal. So thank you so much for making time for us. I know a mutual associate from the Straw Hut family had to bug you a couple of times because you're very, very busy. You're doing a lot of really cool stuff, especially with Pride, your podcast. You're expanding. You're doing a lot of really neat stuff right now. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the podcast. But welcome to Confess Your Mess. If you've never listened before, this is a space where our listeners can submit their secrets. They can confess things, get it off their chest. And we try to be judgment-free, but we don't have to be because sometimes people are just messing. We all need to have a little chuckle at their expense.
Or like a butt gusting.
A butt gusting?
What is it?
Gut busting.
Wow.
A butt gusting.
You know what I meant to say, AJ Gibson.
My butt was a little gusty this weekend. Woo!
Oh my God,
Ate some
the
greens.
farts were
But anyways,
insane.
I will say, so you brought us a confession of your own, which we're going to get to a little bit later on in the podcast. But before we do that, we go through a series of secrets that have been revealed to us, sometimes anonymously, from our listeners from around the world. But in order to trust you with these confessions, because these are near and dear, these are real confessions. In order to trust you, we need to know that you're down to play, right? You can hang. And so before we get to your big secret, we're going to do a little bit of a secret right now. It's one thing in your life that you might consider a vice. Maybe you secretly smoke cigarettes on the side, and you think that's a vice, or maybe you have a thing for pecan ice cream. I don't know, whatever your thing is. It's the one thing in the world that you know isn't necessarily great for you, but you just can't stop. So we want to know, what is your mess, but yes.
I'm going to say a Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell.
Oh.
And it's one of those things that I can crave it. Now I'm probably gonna have to get one today, but I can crave it once and then tomorrow too. And then I might add on a Nacho Bel Grande or something, to go with it. So I would say it's probably a Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell. And they used to have a beefy one that was, they kicked it up a notch, added a little extra ground beef. That one was that was the
Who
tea.
doesn't love a beefy one?
We all love a beefy
So
one.
good.
Do you have the Taco Bell subscription service where you can get one taco a day for
Did
a
you
month?
hear about that?
No, I will do this. What is it?
It's like $10 or something.
Yeah, subscription service, and you actually are able to go get one taco a day for your monthly subscription for $10.
Yeah, for $10 a month.
Okay, can I pay $20 a month and just get I'd really rather have that Crunchwrap, or even $30 a month? I could probably swing that,
So we need to talk to Taco Bell. There needs to be different subscription tiers.
What is the
Tiers.
subscription service where I don't have to worry about the commercials? Whatever that equivalent would be here, that's what I want. Taco Bell slaps.
I like the Doritos tacos.
Doritos Locos Taco.
Yes.
but
But
just
I
the
was
plain.
sad when they were no more of the Cooler Ranch, just the nacho cheese, and I'm like, that's fine, but I do miss the Cooler Ranch.
I hear that. I love Cool Ranch as a standalone. Yeah, as a standalone. But as a taco, I like the Doritos Los Tacos
never liked the
Supremes.
Cool Ranch.
Yeah, and I used to also get a beef Mexi melt with sour cream and a Mexican pizza, and they've discontinued both of them.
I know. Do they even have the tostada anymore? I don't think so.
Who knows?
What is life even?
What is life? Like, how do you change things so
They
drastically?
won me back with that Crunchwrap Supreme.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay.
We go to Taco Bell, maybe.
All bets are off if they remove that sucker. Like,
hey, if you remove the Crunchwrap Supreme, Levi Chambers is going to come for you, Taco Bell.
We definitely do go to Taco Bell like once a year, and we have like
once a year?
Maybe twice. I don't know. Is that a lot?
I'm
or
like
a little?
once a week. There's one within walking distance.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, I pop down all the time.
Oh, so our equivalent would be there's a KFC
KFC.
within walking distance for us, and every now and then I'll drive through and get like popcorn chicken.
No, I get chicken wings.
You get chicken wings. I get popcorn chicken. Or that bowl that has mashed potatoes and gravy and chicken and cheese.
Yeah.
Or
Delicious.
corn. So good.
Oh, God.
And this Taco Bell is a cantina, so they have alcohol.
Wait, what's the difference between the cantina
fancy
and the
one.
Oh,
I think it's alcohol. Seriously, you can get like the Frutista Freeze and just add something to it, you know?
Oh my God, Frutista free. Okay, we're gonna have to go to Taco Bell soon. Now we're gonna make a Taco Bell KFC. That's our weekend excursion this weekend. Is Taco Bell and KFC.
I love that his mess, but yes, just really opened up a whole Pandora's box for us.
Hey,
I'm hungry now.
You know I love food and unhealthy food at that on the weekends. Okay, so we're
You passed. Good job.
very excited to have you here because I mean this is the perfect episode for you to be on. So basically every single episode we have a theme. So because you handle the Pride and LGBTQ Instagram accounts and do so much for the community, the theme for this week it's queer secrets. So
Shocking. What if it was like football secrets or something?
Right? Sports.
Got it.
Anyway, let's get into the secrets. Okay, this first secret, Levi and AJ. It comes from Joe in Ohio.
Okay, home state.
You may know them, AJ.
My best friend's name is Joe. I have like 3
Don't they live in Florida now, though?
But no, one of them lives in Ohio. In
Still?
Cleveland, yeah.
Okay, so this is Joe, Ohio. They're non-binary. I've always been a very sexual person, and I love exploring my sexuality. Don't we all? But when I was around 15 to 16 years old, I really liked exploring it. I would go to church on Wednesday evenings with my friends for Wednesday night services, but I would not actually stay. I would leave and go hook up with one of my male friends, but I was always back before service was over, so no one knew except a couple of friends, and they never said anything. Oh, so you're just getting a quickie on Wednesday nights.
This is fascinating to me. Well, gosh, I know you've as we all do dealt with like the religion of it all, Levi. Like it's complex. It's not. There's never like one conversation, right, that can pinpoint what exactly religion, the impact it's had on the queer community, right, on individually. But for an individual sneaking out during church to go hook up, like what's that about? What do you think's happening?
I feel like that makes it more fun, right? And maybe that was a really good like excuse to get out of the house. Like, I don't know if this person was at home with their family, right? And they're like, I can't tell them like I'm going to go hook up with someone, but I can say like, I'm going to go see Jesus, do your thing, you know, and then that'll be fine. And no one will even wonder. And I could probably do this on Friday and they'll be like, wow, he really loves church. But
he's going to all the services.
He's going to every service, every single one.
Yeah, little do they know he's actually getting service during service.
I will say,
service.
Yeah, or
giving service, right? As a preacher's kid, you know, and being inside the church, I remember obviously we're all kids. We're teenagers, whatever they say, 15, 16. So when I think back to being a teenager, I remember just because we were in church, like even for church camps or church retreats or things like that, we're still kids going through puberty and have desires and everything. I was in the closet, but I remember like there were things going on all around inside the church on these church trips. And we all had ways. I'm not implicating myself here, by the way. Just
you were doing some
clear.
nasty stuff.
I was not.
Probably.
But I'm just saying there were ways to get around, you know, doing these things sometimes in church premises or off church premises with the church groups. And this story right here isn't uncommon because you have to think, especially for someone who is part of a religious family or upbringing, you know, that is a way where if you are somebody who maybe is not out yet and you want to explore, there was, and you guys can chime in after this, not saying you could always tell, but there was a way where you could also see other people who might have been struggling with their sexuality too. And you find that common bond with them. And there's that moment where you both look at each other and you say, and like,
here's the thing that queer kids in particular, this person identifies as non-binary. Do you know their pronouns or no?
No.
Okay.
Just Joe.
So Joe, and other queer kids that might be like Joe, don't often get the space or the opportunity to explore in like a safe environment.
Right.
And it shouldn't matter if they're doing this during church, they're doing this whatever. It could be hanging out at a friend's house, could be whatever it is. At that time in your life, that's when you sort of explore what it is that's curious to you, that interests you. And regardless of the church of it all, that part shouldn't matter. So I live for this person. I love that they're sharing this, and I love that they're not so ashamed that they think that they need to sit in that pew and hear hatred for an hour and a half every single Wednesday or Sunday or whatever day it is they're going to church.
Yeah.
We used to. So I went to Catholic school, as you know. I've talked about it on the pod. And I think I'm going to tell a story I don't think I've ever told on the pod.
Oh, we'll see.
Sometimes Emile drags me because
it was on the last episode. One time I dragged you.
I repeat stories
Go
often,
ahead.
but it is who I am. And I love it. I love that about myself. So there's that. But my family, we used to, when everybody would go to church, we would all get dressed up and pack up into our full-size conversion van. You know, the ones with the blinds and the curtains in them. And
we had one. The table. We had a TV in there.
Yeah, all of it, right?
It was very nice. Magical as a child.
Right. And we would drive our asses right on past the church to our favorite brunch spot. And we would all go have brunch.
What was the brunch spot?
Well, sometimes it was the Empire. If we were really, really fancy, it would be Welch's.
So these are all Ohio brands.
The Orchard Tree. If you're from my hometown, you know these places. They're all iconic. And I think I think none of them are actually open anymore.
So not like Shoney's or...
Oh, no. We didn't have like brands.
Oh, got it.
We had like local restaurants. I mean, I remember getting the McDonald's when I was a kid, and we about lost our minds. So we would drive past the church to brunch. The thought process being, while everybody's at church, there's not going to be a line at brunch. So we would just go straight to brunch and go for a Sunday cruise around the lake. And our stepdad and our mom would be in the front, and he would sing, usually Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, that album. And he would grab our mom's boob sometimes and honk her left breast while she sat in the passenger seat. And that was religion for us as kids. That was what we grew up with. Listen, I'm in therapy. It's a lot.
Listen,
really
I've been to a Catholic service before, and there's a lot of kneeling and standing and up and down.
So
and
much.
That sounds like a lot less work.
Yes.
Just seeing stepdad grab the boob.
Just watch our dad fondle our mom in the front seat, and we knew that was love, so we were okay with it.
What is love?
And sometimes he would go honk, and he'd make a honk noise.
Oh, there were sound effects with it as well.
She hated it.
Okay, next time you tell the story, which I'm sure like episodes down the line, you tell it. Yes, you have to do the honk
like
sound.
A bike horn.
No, yeah, it was funny.
Okay. Yes. Well, thank you, Joe, for sharing that secret and that confession, and glad that it sounds like your journey has come to a nice
or just come. It's just come.
Wow, okay.
Your journey's just come.
By the way, since this podcast Confess Your Mess, I was talking to AJ and Levi before this, and I was like, what if instead of always saying Confess Your Mess, you say thank you for listening to Kim. Like it's like Kim. It's like come, but it's like Kim.
See, you have to kind of say it like Kim Kardashian. Kim.
Okay.
Listen, we'll workshop that.
All right. This next one is from Bradley Mel, Houston, Texas. That's where Beyonce's from, right?
Okay, H-Town. Yes, of course.
That was a test. Obviously, I knew since I said it. Okay. So it says, less a secret, more need advice. Oh, okay. Let's all put our advice hats on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't have one nearby. Let's do it.
I've been chatting with this guy from the military for about 5 months. But there's...
Okay, here's my advice. Yes. Just yes. Keep going.
It's kind of hot. Yes,
Wait,
sir.
Which branch of the military?
Yeah, that's important.
That is, it looks like they didn't say, but we'll pretend. Somebody give us a branch so we can...
Oh, let's say Army. They're aggressive.
Okay, Army. For about 5 months, but there's some doubt about the whole ordeal, if he's real about everything he tells me, including his true identity. Oh, God. Should I continue to stay in contact with him, or should I walk away? I don't want to get my heart broken again because I've already been through too much. Just don't want to continue to let myself get hurt in this way anymore. P.S. Oh, no. We haven't met yet, and we're supposed to meet pretty soon. What should I do?
Oh.
Super quick. Find someone else.
Right.
Yeah, start
Catfish.
over.
Anytime you're questioning, like, he says he's a Navy SEAL, and he didn't answer my call last night because he was jumping out of an airplane, which it's like,
Here's the thing, AJ, whenever we watch, and there's times where you go on like binges of random shows, and there was one time we did a Catfish binge, and I understand, wanting love and wanting some type of form of affection and just companionship.
Sure, we all want it.
It's just in 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, just for the past decade, it's so easy for you to verify if somebody is real. Mm-hmm. And all the excuses in the world, it wouldn't work for me, because with your phone, you can quickly do do a FaceTime or a WhatsApp chat or just,
Did we hear how old this person is?
They did not say.
They didn't say.
But it's like now it's to the point where if you are just ignoring all the red flags, then because you're asking this, and I'm sorry, Bradley, I think you know the answer. It sounds like it's a catfish situation to me, and the army, or we didn't know, the military excuse that's a great excuse because they can pretend like, oh, I'm away right now.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you're talking to somebody online and you've not met them or maybe FaceTimed them or actually seen them in person yet, there are a few, especially if you're a gay person, a male in particular, I think even more so. Mm-hmm. There are a few fantasies for gay men that are pretty prevalent.
Get on your knees.
It's the military one. Mm-hmm. It's the athlete in the locker room. But there's some fantasies that are pretty common. And so that's one red flag for me. 2, if you're okay just living in this fantasy world, which it sounds like this person is not, Bradley is not, that's fine. If you want to have a little cute little thing online and you're not in a relationship, you're not hurting anybody else, and you're making that choice, that's one thing. But it sounds to me like Bradley really is falling for this person and getting excited about this person, and that will not end well.
Yeah.
So I would say just block the number, move on. Try to, there is somebody else out there. There always is. There's always somebody else out there. We talked about that on their pod once. I don't believe in soulmates. I think he is a soulmate of mine, and I plan on spending every minute of my life with him until I die.
Pause, because you still are saying it wrong. You said, I think he is a soulmate of mine, implying that you have more than one. We talked about this.
I did say I think that we all kind of have a number of soulmates in the world.
We're not going here again.
A whole bunch of them? You have a bunch of soulmates.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
I think you're right about this. I think there's a good chance that his military beau is actually like a Midwestern mom who's really bored of her book club and her kids are driving her crazy and she's just having a little fun online. And maybe that's fun, but that'd be really disappointing if you did meet up.
Yeah. It makes me sad, but what doesn't make me sad is we have so many more secrets. Plus, we have a homework assignment for you right after the break. Plus, we have a new segment that we're introducing at the end of the show that AJ doesn't even know about. All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Confess Your Mess. We're super excited to be joined by Levi Chambers, host and creator of Pride Podcast and all sorts of you're doing so many cool things for the community, and you're launching out, or you're branching out a bit right now. You're doing some cool stuff on Snapchat, Levi. What's going on?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, we've launched 2 shows so far. We launched a Gaiety show on Snapchat as well as Pride, which is the podcast. Its video version is also on Snap. And we have another one coming up called Queer Story, which kind of examines queer moments throughout history. So we have some exciting things going on.
Nice.
What's it like diving in and sort of looking into queer culture and the history of it all? Because, we have a fun kiki on our show, but to think about I sit down and luckily our producer Frank puts together our show rundown and listeners submit their secrets. So they're really doing the work and we're just reacting. I can't imagine what sort of work goes into every single episode of the Pride Podcast. So what's that process like for you?
Okay, I'll be totally honest with you. I would love to say I am just so good. I write the whole thing and then I edit it and then bam. But there are if I'm being honest, what are there 6 or 7 people who are working on Pride at any given time? A couple of writers, me, someone booking talent, someone doing editing, someone else editing videos. I mean, there's just a lot of people. So at the end of the show, when we say Pride is produced by me, Levi Chambers, Maggie Bowles, Ryan Tillotson, Brandon Marlowe, Caitlin McDaniel, Silvana Alcott, that's true. There are just so many people who work on it to make it good. And half the time when I get a script, I didn't contribute to it, right? I mean, I contributed in doing the interview and kind of giving any overarching direction, but most of it is whoever wrote that episode really has to run with it. And then I'm delivering it and helping create it. But I think a lot of the credit goes to other people who do a lot of the research or, go through the trouble of booking guests or identifying guests. Once in a while I'll pull together an episode, but most of the time it is a big team effort to make it come together.
I love when people give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
I know I sit my ass down here for this podcast and you've done all the sound and lighting. Frank has been logged on and they're getting all of our entire rundown of our show together. And then I literally say, okay, bye guys. Bye. See everybody later. Whoever's on our show that day. See you later. And I walk away. And you send everything over to Frank, and then they download it all and then edit it.
It's a whole process.
So I love that you just gave credit where credit's due. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. A lot of people work on it.
Well, we're definitely going to have to check out the new Snapchat shows because that sounds like a very exciting
So do I have
adventure.
to re-download Snapchat now? Because my 41-year-old ass deleted it years ago because I was so bad at it.
Snapchat. You'll like it. There's good filters now.
Yeah, They have a filter that makes you look like a sim, and people are saying that's what you're going to look like in the meta. Anyway, but here's what I will say. Since we're talking about credit, we every single week talk about extra credit, and there's a way that you as a listener can get an extra credit, like be a bonus.
Wait, did I just set you up without even knowing it?
You did.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
we should get married.
Here's the thing. This is your homework assignment. So every single week we do a messenger of the week. So a messenger of the week is a listener who we call our messengers, who left a comment on iTunes, rated 5 stars, and you are our messenger of the week. So if you want to be a messenger of the week, like I just said, go to iTunes, rate, comment 5 stars.
Do those things.
And we would really appreciate it. And then also make sure you tell a friend, because this podcast is also word of mouth. So we want people to know about the pod. We want people to support, and it really is a great pod. I'm going to highlight our messenger of the week for this week because we had quite a few new ratings. How about we do this one, AJ? This is from Brandon Sturgill, who's followed us on Instagram for a while.
I know that name.
Love these crazy conversations. They said, I've been a fan of Emile since Clever. I used to skip school just to watch it. I started watching Wendy Williams, then seen AJ on there. Then I found out Emile and AJ was a thing. I was so excited. More I became a fan of them. I found out AJ grew up near Dayton, Ohio, where I am from, and live, unfortunately, haha. But I love hearing about all the Ohio stories.
Ohio, all over the pod
I know.
today.
So they probably really enjoyed that Joe from Ohio story when they listened to this podcast.
Thanks, Brandon.
We really appreciate it. So if you want to be a messenger of the week, you know what to do. Now let's get into the next secret. AJ, are you ready?
I'm ready if you're ready.
Levi, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This one is from India, y'all. International.
Wait, we got a listener in India now?
Well, we have Tanzania,
Oh, wow.
we have Portugal, we have Indonesia. We get all over the place. Okay, here we go. This is from Rogan, Male, India.
That's a great name.
Right?
I love that name.
It's so sexy, Rogan. Okay. Crossed state borders to meet a guy that I matched with on Tinder.
Oh.
He didn't show up and thus had to spend New Year's Eve all by myself.
Oh.
Lucky me. At least I had the fantastic view of Goa Beach all to myself. But that still didn't feel good. So I went on Grindr after promising myself not to have random hookups and build long-lasting relationships this year. And was so desperate that I decided to meet this random guy. He asked me to meet in this weird bar. There were so many hot dudes there, and I almost agreed to go out with this hot dude and ditch my Grindr hookup. I decided to ditch both the guys ultimately. OMG, this was a full circle, being ditched to ditching myself.
Oh, wow.
Is this?
Okay.
I'm assuming this person's wanting just a reaction, like, "Wow, that was very busy New Year's."
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think so sometimes some of our secrets and confessions are people just getting things off their chest.
Yeah.
And I think that it sounds like this person is struggling with just randomly hooking up and sort of judging themselves for it, and then turned around and tried to hook up with somebody and then ditched them again. So here's the thing. Rogan. By the way, this beach is incredible.
Yeah, that beach is gorgeous.
We Goa Beach.
Do I have to Google it? I'll Google it. Now.
Yeah,
please go. We'll put a photo on the Instagram account too
when we post this because that's really stunning. I want to go to India now. No, okay. So Rogan, here's the thing. If you want to hook up every day of your life, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Be safe. Be an adult. Be respectful of others and their bodies and their choices and consent and all those things, of course. But go for it. If you don't want to hook up every single day, that's also okay. There's no pressure to do one thing. There's no one right way to be queer, whatever that even means, right? So figure out what works for you. And I definitely get that. I went through a long period in my life where I just felt like a whore every time I would hook up, especially through college. I'd wake up the next morning, I'd be depressed, I'd be sad, I'd go cry in my dorm room, and then I'd try to hide it. And
would
then
you look in the mirror and say, you're a fucking whore, AJ?
No, but I listened to Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson all the time, and I'd cry to myself and try to get myself back up. I'd be like, no, you're better than this. The change starts with you, AJ.
Oh, wow.
But guess what? Maybe you don't need to change.
Right.
Maybe society needs to change, and maybe it's okay just to be who you are.
Yeah.
So don't be so hard on yourself.
Here's the thing with whenever I hear like a New Year's story in Alone, I immediately, and I don't know if anybody else is like this, I immediately just think of Sex and the City movie where Miranda was alone and then Carrie like comes running to her right at
before
midnight.
Yeah. But guess what?
What?
it's also okay to be
alone. Yes.
Like, I know it's not necessarily always ideal. And for whatever reason, we put all this pressure on New Year's because we're like, oh, this made up calendar that man made. Like, we need to restart today at this exact 1 second. And if it doesn't start off right, we're a loser for the next year. It's not real.
Yeah.
But so I need to know, Levi, do you like make New Year's resolutions? Is that a thing? Do you start every, because I might sound like a total ass right now. You're like, yes, I think it's very important.
Okay, so normally, yes, I would do some sort of like resolution, but this year I did something different. I wrote down I think I have like a dozen of them. They're in my notes somewhere. Anyway, they're basically like goals instead of resolutions, because I feel like a resolution you always like, do you know what I mean? It's where you set yourself up for like, I'm going to exercise every day, and now it's the 18th and I've done it 3 times this month. And it's like, well, that's already broken. So instead I set goals that were, I guess you'd say like over a year, they're all achievable. I mean, one of them is kind of big. Like, I'm like, I want to learn to fly an airplane. I mean, that was actually one of them. So some of them are a little bit too aspirational, but I set goals and hopefully I achieve them. If I don't, it's fine, right? They'll just become 2023's goals or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really done resolutions in a few years because I feel like most people, it's very hard to hold them, or you have to have something that like you've been working to try to give up. And then having this resolution is some sort of, it gives you like something symbolic, to like help you do it. Like, I'm going to quit smoking. It's my 2022 resolution or whatever. So I feel like then it works. But for me, no, this year I did like goals.
That's kind of us too, actually. Yeah. We like to write things down. We make lists.
Yeah.
We do a little list on our dry erase board. It was in my stocking, I think you got me for Christmas or something. Stuffer. Yeah, and we have a little dry erase board on our refrigerator, and every day, especially on the weekends. During the week, we get a little busy. I host a national talk show every morning, and he's working for Amazon, and we're doing the podcast. It's a lot. But on the weekends especially, we like to have a schedule so we feel like we're still accomplishing things. And we definitely we'll even write in time to like do nothing. Yeah. If that's something like an hour of absolutely nothing, we'll write that down too.
I will say though, Levi, one thing we did one year, and this was because of our good friend Naz. We had this was pre-COVID.
Oh, yeah. We had like, why has Naz not been on the pod yet?
Yeah, we should have her on.
Yeah, we should.
But we had 8 or 9 friends come over, friends that we felt were within our circle that we wanted to grow with.
Emile put this all together. It was incredible.
I had that year. I had done an interview with Issa Rae or the year prior to this New Year's party, and she said that like everybody that was in her circle, like she helped. They all rose up together. And I was like, oh, I love that. So I invited all these people over who I wanted to grow with and wanted us all to rise up together. And this was kind of through Naz because Naz did this for herself. But what I had was...
Why is Andra Day's like Rise Up in my back of my brain right now? It's playing.
It's an amazing song.
So good.
But I had everybody write on a little note card what their goals were for that year. I can't remember what year it was, but they wrote on a note card and then sealed the envelope. And you don't open it again until the next New Year. And it was the most we only did it that one year, but it was the most beautiful thing because the next year, and it's kind of similar to what you're saying, but the next year we opened it up. And of course, we didn't accomplish everything on the list, but it was so cool to see like some of the things we wrote down because you write it and it's like out of sight, out of mind. But it's so cool to see the things that we wrote down and be like, oh, wow, I did accomplish that. And then just cross it off. And it's like, oh, wow.
I feel it was like 2017 or 2018. It was around the time my book was coming out. And I remember being like, oh, wow. I really did write a book and it was published this year. And
I interviewed her in 2018, so it must have been 2019 then.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Cool. It was our goal setting party.
Yeah,
and also I feel like that's better, right? Than like I'm setting this thing where I'm going to change like a huge behavior or achieve something huge, that one thing, and then if you don't do it, then it's like, oh crap.
Well, because if you don't when you do it that way, if you don't have 100% success, you feel like a failure. If you succeed 99%, you feel like a failure.
Yeah,
right. So if you switch it and just be like, I'd like to do these things, and also involve your friends. That part was key.
Yeah.
We had some conversations that night that were just unreal. Like tears were shed. We had no idea people were going. We found out a friend of ours was like literally so broke and in between jobs. And they broke down and said, I've been eating bowls of Cheerios for all of my meals because it's all I can afford. And I was just like heartbroken. I was like, why have we not invited this person over for dinner? Why did we not know this was happening to one of our dear, dear friends?
Yeah, we had different activities. I forgot how we led to that activity, but like, we had different activities. That one was we all had to write a list of like what our biggest fears and insecurities. It was like something like that on a and then we
your
went
biggest
around
fear or insecurity, and then everybody else kind of reacted to it. Like you're insane. You feel that way about yourself. This is how we see you, and it's pretty insightful.
It was a beautiful night.
Yeah.
But that was that. Yeah. So New Year. We should do that again next year.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Am I reading this one right here?
You're reading our final secret before we get to Levi's.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. So this one is Anonymous Male, Los Angeles.
Oh, so we could know this person.
This could be any one of us.
I mean, Los Angeles is huge. That's like Joe in Ohio. I know a Joe. It's probably the same one.
Listen, Levi. I know a lot of Joes in Ohio. I could
Anonymous male in Los Angeles. We know them.
Ever since I learned the difference, I find myself curious to find out if every man I know is cut or uncut.
Oh, wow.
Including coworkers, family members, friends, the grocery store clerk, etc. For the record, I strongly prefer circumcised men. Oh, you strongly prefer circumcised men.
Okay.
So finding out their cut is hugely satisfying for me. The trouble is I have no way of knowing if a guy I'm interested in dating is cut or uncut, and I don't think I can just ask someone that question without them thinking I'm some sort of a freak. So sometimes I find myself catfishing them first just to get a D pic so I can find out before pursuing them. I don't value men based only on their penises. I just prefer what I prefer.
Are we sure? Levi, I will let you kick it off and then we'll chime in.
Okay. The thing that hangs me up on this one that is just, I think I'm in a nice way to whoever is listening off is like the grocery store clerk. Like is every encounter with someone who you assume has a penis immediately, you're like, nice to meet you.
You might, yeah.
Right.
You might be potential.
Right. And then also the part that is a little bit, I don't know, is this whole like, I can't ask them. I mean, I feel like you should be, instead of catfishing, just ask them. And if they're offended by it, then they're not going to want to go out with you. And there's that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know. The catfishing thing is a little bit like, I don't know. I'm getting like you vibes. I don't know if you've seen you on
we've seen every season.
Seen you.
Mm-hmm.
Not that this person is anywhere near that, but you know what I mean? You had to like the way Joe
could get it. I mean, he might murder me, but he could get it.
Oh my God, Joe is such like
something so fascinating about him. I don't know what it is.
Do you want to go and then
Yeah, I'll go. So I think that.
Do you want to tell them if you're cut or uncut?
Oh yeah, I'm cut. I guess I was
fine. Joking.
That's fine.
Probably really satisfied that person.
Yeah, somebody's really happy. But
very
also,
happy. They're like, thank the Lord.
But also, growing up, I just assumed that's what everybody was.
Oh, really?
I didn't know. Yeah, I grew up Catholic in a small little town in Ohio, and as far as I know, we all got circumcised when we were little babies.
Yeah,
everybody did. So that's just all I knew where I grew up. And it wasn't until I was older that I came across an uncircumcised penis for the first time, and I don't remember thinking anything about it. It was just different than mine, and that was that.
And you embrace the differences.
Sure, I think that when you say it's a little bit triggering to me when you're like, it just is what it is. It's what I like. I get that. We all have our preferences, but I feel like there's judgment going on, and I don't know how I really feel about it, because I've heard so many people be like, well, I'm not really into like femme, I'm not really into black, I'm not really into Asian, I'm not really into whatever. And to me, that's so strange, because I'm like, if you're looking to connect with somebody, you're going to miss out on a whole lot of really incredible people if you're narrowing it down that much. So that concerns me.
Yeah.
If you're just looking to have sex, then maybe I guess this could be different. What do you have to lose?
Just ask them.
Well, yeah, right. That's what I'm confused about. That's my hang up.
To the point of going to catfishing, and I think that's where we're all like getting to as well. It's like there's so many layers to this. And, you know, I don't know this person was anonymous. To anonymous, we confess so much on this podcast, by the way. I didn't know AJ was going to confess his actual cut versus uncut. But for me, anonymous, this would probably throw you for a loop. I'm actually partially circumcised. And I remember the story, I found out from my mom how this happened a long time ago. But this is so graphic.
Yeah, you're a unicorn.
I have foreskin. But I'm not like but it's also.
But it's not like Joey Tribbiani from Friends, where he's like trying to like, or was it Ross, where they're trying to like tape baloney on? Remember that scene in Friends? Episode?
I didn't watch Friends.
Iconic.
But I'm partial, and it's amazing because if you are,
it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, if you're uncircumcised or partially like me, you know that having foreskin is pretty incredible. It's great. Don't need lube. It's wonderful. But it just concerns me that, like, kind of what AJ and Levi are saying, if you are, solely focused on, I cannot hook up with this person or date this person or talk to this person unless they are circumcised, you really are discounting so many people. And also, to Levi's point, the obsession. If I see a random person, if I'm on the subway and I see the guy sitting across from me in basketball shorts, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if they're cut or uncut. That's just like a wild thing to me. Like that, my brain doesn't work like that.
My brain doesn't go there. I'm like, you might notice what they're working with at the gym or whatever. That's one thing. But to start to like going down that rabbit hole, and also as queer people in general, right? No matter where you fall under that like rainbow sort of umbrella, as queer people, we're already so limited in our options of those who might be sexually interested in us in return, or who might want to partner with us, who might want to build a relationship with us. And there's so much trauma attached to it to begin with. So why limit yourself even further is my question. And I'm not saying that you're wrong or that you're right or anything else. I would just ask yourself if there's maybe a reason, maybe there's a root to this, maybe there's a reason you feel a certain way about a certain type of penis that is causing you to make these choices and have these actions, because that's what you need to get to the root of. Like, that's what you need to figure out. And you might be just swept off your feet someday and meet the love of your life and never ever know it because of a preconceived notion you have about somebody's penis. Like, that's just wild to me.
And you don't need a catfish to do that.
No. Okay. Don't ever catfish. That's wrong. That is wrong.
We are going to take a quick commercial break.
Is Levi going to give a secret?
Yes.
Welcome back to the pod. This is Confess Your Mess. I'm here with my fiance Emile and our guest Levi Chambers. We've so far today we have covered sex during church, not at the church, but during church. Circumcised penises, and
well, circumcised and uncircumcised, and partially circumcised,
all of them, and New Year's resolutions gone awry. It's been a lot. Which brings us to this point in the pod.
Yes,
this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Okay,
is it?
It is, Levi, because I hope you're sweating. I hope you're shaking in your boots, or your loafers, your heels, whatever it is you're wearing right now, or nothing, because right now, this is the moment our listeners have tuned in for. It's time for you, Levi Chambers, to confess your mess.
Ooh.
Okay, so the mess portion is not necessarily me. It's just like the whole scenario was a bit of a mess. But when I was still in undergrad, so first I worked at Macaroni Grill. That was the thing. I was very good at writing my name upside down on a table with crayons.
So good.
Yeah, I was really good at it. So there's that. But while I was doing that, I was also moonlighting and working at a strip club.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it was a real deal strip club, like one that can't serve alcohol because everybody's naked.
Oh. Wait, where'd you grow up?
So if people can Google this when they start to look, I went to Arizona State for undergrad, and it was a party school. It was a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun.
Aren't they the hottest school in the country? They say the best looking people in the country go to Arizona State.
Maybe they do. I mean, there's a lot of people. So
I've heard that.
The odds are there's a lot of them because there's so many students. But yes, because they kind of accept a lot of people.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a steak dinner, baked potato strip club. This is like a strip club. Strip club where, so for one, it was up until, I want to say it was, I don't remember all the rules, right? There's like a subculture there that you'd have to remember. I think I call it D time, and it's like after midnight, it's either after midnight you can't be naked or before. One or the other. It's almost like being like Cinderella, right? Like you turn into a pumpkin or whatever, your dress turns to rags. So anyway, I had a friend that it was stripping, but like a little sketchy in Phoenix. And it was like private room dancing, really, is what she did. And I won't mention her name because I don't know how she feels about it now. Anywho, I would go over there and hang out with her, and I would actually hang out in the room with her. She had like a security guard that was basically, there were like security cameras in the rooms, and they could watch you, and like a big ass dude would go in there if dudes got too weird. So anyway, I would hang out there, and I was like, maybe I should try this. So there was a club called Dick's Cabaret. It is still, I think it's still around. I'm not sure.
Look it up.
You could probably look it up.
There
were some other people who actually, if you Google it, there's other like people who, I think David Hernandez from American Idol. So
wait, this is a gay strip club. Or male strip club. Oh.
Although, like, you know what? To be honest, like, we're going to decode this a little bit. Most of the people that came in were either, and this was actually like kind of the heartwarming part of stripper, but I'll give you like the spiel because it did get a little weird. Anywho, a lot of the people who came in would be like bachelorette parties, things like that, right? Where they're just having a good time. That's one type of person. The other type of person would be like a young person, probably like 30, under 50, over 25, who has a family and like kids and a wife, who would go in. So that was another person. And then the last one was generally like older men. Some of them were straight or identified as straight. And most of them were very lonely in like a I lost my wife kind of way. Aww. So there was this very weird element of like stripping in what it is, right? And it's like entertaining and sexy or whatever. And then this other element of like people coming in and they would pay a lot of money to just sit there or want to talk about all of these very sad things. So that was honestly kind of an eye-opening thing as you start to realize like, okay, there are women in here who are just like, let's get crazy. And then you have these guys who are closeted, who are hiding something, which is also kind of sad. And then this kind of like third customer who are just super lonely. Yeah. And I mean, back then they billed by the song, but all the songs had been edited down to about 2 minutes. So, and it was about $20 a minute is kind of like what they charged. That's how long it was. And people paid by the song, which is like the weird thing. So the sad part was that. And then also it's a very like seedy world. I actually didn't do it for very long because you could probably Google this too. And I don't want to say the person's name because I don't know, but they actually had one of the managers ended up getting shot and killed at the strip club. And one of my friends who was also there called and was like, so this person just got shot. They're dead. There's a lot of things going on. It was very weird. I never went back after that because I was like, keep the money. You're too sketchy.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
Right. And then there were elements like when people didn't have enough money, it would get very scary very quick. Not for me, I was fine. But for other people, it got very scary very quick, because they're going to make you pay. It was almost like this like 1950s Las Vegas vibe where it's like,
yeah,
you spent money you didn't have. Now
like
you can talk to the
there's some mobster stuff going on, it feels like, yeah.
But there was one person who was older. He was probably like 70. And somehow, and this was kind of, I guess, Facebook would have been around, Instagram, no. So it wasn't like the social media we have today. This person ended up, I was working at Macaroni Grill and I looked up and at the bar, he was sitting there and it was like 9 o'clock and he was older. And it was the most awkward thing because then I had to go into a manager.
What a double life.
It was a little scary too because I'm like, oh, he came in here for this reason. Yeah. And I had to go tell a manager like, okay, I'm just going to be very honest with you. Here's the situation. I also work here. There is someone there who knows me under a different name and they're here. And he was this big, burly, straight dude. And he was like, okay, I got this. He walked into the bar, literally walked up to the guy and was like, are you here to eat? What are you doing? And he was like, well, I'm waiting for him. And the manager, who was like, he had no obligation to do this. He goes, you can't do that. You need to leave. And you need to leave. When he leaves, you need to not be here. So it was like this, it was honestly kind of, looking back at it, I'm like, how grateful for that person who had no problem stepping in and being like, no, you need to leave.
Wow.
I know. So there you go. There's a mess.
Levi,
that was a
juicy secret.
That was so good.
Oh my gosh.
Also, I was just in Phoenix not that long ago, and how did I not know this place existed?
Well,
it's really sketchy.
And I'll be fully transparent because when you first started telling the secret, my brain, when you said like you're working at a strip club while also working at Macaroni Grill, I was just thinking like, oh, he was like a server at a strip club, like a female strip club or whatever. I didn't even think.
Oh yeah, well, his friend was at a female strip club, which like inspired him to like seek out his own.
I actually loved like a stripper pole is super fun. It's just fun, right? Like that part was fun, but yeah.
Well, one of our favorite places in Los Angeles is Jumbo's Clown Room, and it's topless only, but those girls can dance, and the things they do on those poles.
But they're topless, but they don't show nipples.
Yeah, they're topless, but they have to have pasties, and they have so that's like a partial, and that's like enough.
I think it's an alcohol thing, so you can sell alcohol.
Yeah, it totally is, and it's an absolute blast. We have so much fun every time we go there. But the strip club thing is always fascinating to me because I was dragged to Spearmint Rhino, I think, in Las Vegas years ago. And we were there with somebody very, very wealthy. My ex and I were, and just forced to drink so much vodka. And we finally, I think it's how I got the tattoo on my left arm was that night.
Oh, that was that
I was
night?
like, I got to get out of here. And I ended up getting a tattoo by a guy named like Sparky or something like that at 3 a.m.
Of course it was Sparky.
And also when I think I turned 21. And my friends back in Columbus, Ohio, full circle moment really quickly here, Ohio, brought me to a strip club for my first time and got me a lap dance. I might have been like 20 because I don't think I was out yet. And I think that they thought it was funny. I don't exactly remember, but I do remember that her name was Candy because that's definitely her birth name. She was given that at birth, I'm sure, or Star or something
Probably
like that.
Candy Cane.
Yeah, it was like one of those names. And the whole time they got me a lap dance. And I'm gay as the day is long. Like, right? I'm a platinum star gay. I've never been near a vagina. I've never seen a vagina in person in my entire life. I have no desire. And she's giving me a lap dance. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, okay, so how long do I think my roommate would let her sleep on our couch? Can I bring her home and save her? Can I give her shelter? Can I feed her? Can I pick up extra shifts to like help her out? And I'm creating this whole narrative in my head, right? And I'm thinking I need to save this poor girl. And she was the most confident, beautiful young woman I've ever seen. And I remember leaving and telling my friends, like, oh, honey, she makes so much more money than you. She does not need your help. Right. She is fine. And I had all these like judgments going on inside my brain. And I think she was also probably like, why are you not aroused? And I'm like calculating like how I'm going to save this poor girl who did not need saving.
Jeez, AJ. Well, Levi, literally, that was probably one of the best secrets that we've had shared on the podcast. So really appreciate you sharing that. And, I don't think it's a secret. If in a different life, I think AJ and I would be strippers. We talk about OnlyFans.
Oh, no. Listen, if our parents were not around, we would be on OnlyFans right now. We say it all the time. I know it's a terrible thing, and we should not worry about that. But like
we talked about it, like not anymore, but like back in the day, if we really planned it out, we could have done like some tasteful nudes on OnlyFans and only were on there for like maybe 3 months, get
a house.
Yeah, right. Like you don't have to stay on there. Just get on there for a little bit, get your money from the subscriptions, and then get off.
Listen, if I get this body right again, I'm not saying
getting
no.
on OnlyFans, AJ. Okay, so every single episode, we like to ask our guests and our friends, what is your takeaway of the day from this podcast? So what from this podcast really spoke to you? What's your takeaway?
I think it's that some secrets are darker than others. Like some of these secrets were real innocent, right? Like, oh, I messed around when I was 15. And then others were like, I catfish people to find out if they're circumcised. And it just got, I don't know. I think that's it. Is that like, and it's also the threshold for what is a secret, right? Like,
yes,
right.
Some of that's a deep, anytime someone's like anonymous America, there's a secret, like, okay, it's about to get real.
Yeah,
it's so true. It's been this whole process has been like it evolves every single week, and we're learning like, oh, what we think is a secret or what we think is scandalous sometimes is not at all.
Yeah,
and sometimes things that we think are not scandalous, I say out loud. And he's like, what? Oh my God, no, delete that.
Right.
We can't share that. So we're learning right along with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where can our listeners find you? Where can they find you and support you on social media? Where they can support your podcast? What do they need to know?
You can follow the podcast or the show everywhere at Pride, and you can follow me at Levi Chambers on pretty much all social media, except for like Pinterest. I don't do much with Pinterest, but everywhere else you can.
Listen, we're planning the wedding. We found out about Pinterest this year.
We're on Pinterest.
It's a lot.
Thank you so much, Levi. We really do appreciate you, and everybody check out the Pride podcast. Levi, we'll see you soon, bud.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Confess your mess.
Forgive me, Father,
for I have sinned. All right, AJ, so you don't know anything about this new segment, and there's a reason why. So
awesome.
I didn't grow up in the Catholic Church. I'm a preacher's kid, but I grew up in a different type, Methodist. What is it called when you go into the booth with the priest?
Oh, confessional.
Confessional, right? All right, so this new segment is the confessional. Frank, can we get like some fun music for this? The confessional is when you messengers slide into our DMs, either AJ, mine, or Confess Your Mess Podcast at Confess Your Mess Podcast on Instagram.
Okay.
And you DM us about previous episodes, your thoughts, whatever. Okay, so somebody actually slid into the confessional in regards to the episode with Sinead. So they said, so I'm listening to the most recent podcast and I have to say I love you guys. But I just need to say that, yes, AJ, there were scandals that happened in Salina High School, but they happened after you graduated.
Oh, wait, what? This is somebody from my hometown?
Yes. They said, you graduated when I was either a freshman or sophomore. I can remember the one about the old computer teacher, Mr. Feth. Is that his name?
Oh, yes. I think yes.
Mr. Feth. Okay.
I randomly mentioned him.
So it says he would also look down the shirts of the female students and rub their backs and shoulders.
Yes, always.
And also a guy I graduated with became a teacher at the old Franklin Elementary School in Montezuma. When they turned it into the alternative school, he got fired for drinking on the job.
Oh, wow.
He would go down the road to the carryout at lunch and buy a bottle of vodka and drink during class.
Whoa.
There were also rumors of a Spanish teacher saying inappropriate things to the female students and trying to look down their shirts or up their shirts or dresses in class.
This is in my high school?
This is all in your hometown. So if you listen to the last episode, it will all make sense. Go back and listen to Sinead's episode. But yes, AJ, and thank you. This is Katie. Thank you, Katie, for stepping into the confessional.
Wait, I probably know her. I know a lot of Katies.
I got that DM in the Confess Your Mess Instagram, and I was like, whoa, we have to create some type of segment around this. So AJ, if you get any DMs or I get any DMs or the Confess Your Mess podcast gets any DMs, you can be featured in our new segment, The Confessional. This may not be an every week thing, but when we get a juicy one.
Thank you, Katie, for stepping into the confessional. And also, that teacher, I think, is long gone. I think he probably died many, many years ago. He was old as dirt.
Do I say rest in peace?
Sure.
Okay, rest in peace. Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh.